Wednesday is upon us, Metal Summoners. Thanks as always for tuning in with us this week. We love you and we really appreciate it. As always, you guys taking a little bit of time out of your work week for your party weekend to hang out with us on the Metal Summit. On behalf of Bobby Dreyer, but we do have Psycho Steve, we do have Angel Alamo, and I am Jay. Welcome to your island of misfit toys. And enough about us, because it's not about us, it is all about this guy. We've got Ultraphonics, we've got Disciples of Verity, we've got Living Color, we've got the man, the myth, the legend. We have Mr. Corey Glover in house today. How are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Good. Very, very happy to have you. And first and foremost, congratulations on today's announcement for Living Color playing the MMRBQ Festival.
Yep, we're gonna have a good time. We did something like that with MMR a long time ago, but this is good. This is gonna be back. Good to be back.
Absolutely, for sure. So coming fresh out of the deleted year and, kind of the ups and downs of 2021, how currently do you have 2022 shaping up for yourself? Are you looking to focus more on Living Color or a little bit of all of your projects?
Well, we're doing some stuff in January with Disciples of Verity, and we'll take it from there and see how that goes. We had to postpone some dates in the fall. So we're doing some makeup dates, and we'll see what happens with that. I'm going into the woodshed with Living Color to make our next record. More on that later. I've been working with Mike Orlando from Adrenaline Mob, trying to get some stuff with him together, and that's about it, pretty much. I think that's enough.
Hey, no, for sure, man. That definitely sounds awesome. I mean, it's always been fantastic to see you live. You've always been such a fantastic showman. And when you kind of break everything down from everything that you were doing from Living Color to when you were branching out to your other projects, how do you kind of see your own evolution going? Was there anything in particular you had to do for yourself as far as, keeping yourself, working for stage, vocally sharp? How have you kind of seen the projection of you going with all your various projects over the years?
I think there's a trajectory to it, for a while, about 10 years ago, I was working with this band, Galactic, out of New Orleans. And, they're in that jam band scene, so I got a really chance to see some of that stuff. And, I had my white funk band, which was Galactic, and my black rock band, which is Living Color. So the two of them sort of helped me develop some stuff about what I can and cannot do, and the similarities and the differences between them. Then subsequently, when I did that thing with George Lynch and Ultraphonics, it was a whole other thing for all of us, I think. It was a little more experimental. And then doing this Disciples of Verity thing furthered my, metal sort of trajectory in that way. So, and I took all the stuff from previous to that and threw it into this.
Right on, man. Very cool. Absolutely, for sure. Psycho Steve, let's bring you in, my good dude.
Well, we discussed before we came on the show, I've been a loyal fan of every project that I've seen you in. Only thing I didn't see you is, of course, with the Lynch band.
Right. We got a chance to play. So.
Right. So the question is, we're going to go back and start where I did see you with Living Color. How did it come about as far as in the name? And did you guys know each other and just put the band together, or?
Well, the band existed before I got to it. Actually, this is Vernon Reed's project, pretty much. He had, previous to doing this, had been doing a bunch of jazz stuff. He was doing real sort of harmonic jazz and that kind of thing. But being a guitar player, it had its limits for him, and he was looking to do something that would allow him to stretch out in a way. And so he had created this band, Living Color, and it was initially it was like a trio, and they stayed in the harmonic jazz sort of field, and they slowly moved into more of a rock thing and more of a funk thing. Really at the start of the whole new wave idea in the mid 80s, and it went through a lot of permutations. A lot of different people came through, and finally, I had met Vernon at some point at a birthday party, and as the story goes, he heard me sing "Happy Birthday," and we struck up a conversation, and he then asked me to join the band, and the rest is, as they say, is history.
Sweet.
Right on.
Hey guys,
Cool.
can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, Bobby?
Yo. Hey,
Can't see you.
Tony, real quick. Hey guys, I got Tony here. He wants to say hi to Corey real quick.
Hey Corey,
Yeah,
Tony. Great to see that you're on the show. I wish I would be in a better place to see you. Love you and love all you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I can hear you.
Hold up. Can't really hear right now. We're at Andre Buccelli, so we apologize. We just wanted to jump on this.
Nah, no worries, Bobby.
Love you. Mark Hudson, everybody says hi. And people here, so we're here. It's intermission, and talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Did you get you caught up? Corey, also Bobby's partner, is also the co-author of the American Disabilities Act.
Okay.
So, yeah, and he's aware of your son having epilepsy. I never say that sometimes fast. He knew about that because his partner is also an epileptic.
Right. I met him doing some stuff with Eric. I can't think of Eric's last name, but yeah, my youngest son had a form of epilepsy, a very mild form of epilepsy. So yeah, so yes, I do remember. And hello and goodbye, I guess.
He'll probably be on later.
Not a problem. Absolutely. Steve, let's have you keep rolling with it, dude.
So, how did you become a singer? Was this your first instrument, or did you play an instrument and then switch to vocals? Or
no, I've been singing since I was about 6 years old, and have never. Yeah, I play different instruments, and I learned to play a lot of different instruments. But singing has been my main sort of axe. That's my thing. That's right. What I do, and it sort of serves me well. It's a complete package for me.
Gotcha. Because every time I've seen you, I've only seen you sing. I've never seen you like sing and play an instrument.
I play a little guitar. I play a little bit of everything really, really, really badly. So and fortunately, I'm surrounded by people who play really, really well. So there's no need for me to play anything.
I hear you. That's why I surround myself around these guys, because I have the perfect face for radio and their talent. I'm just trying to
exactly. There you go.
Piggyback off of them. So there you go.
Oh, you're too kind. The check's in the mail, Steve.
Thanks, man. Here's looking up your address. There you go.
Absolutely. Angel, how are you this evening, my good dude? And how are the Summoners?
I am super awesome. So is everybody. Everyone's very excited. And so am I as well. My question is, can you talk about new music? Because we know it's been kind of worked on for a little bit.
Yeah, well, the newest music that is the Disciples of Verity stuff, obviously. And we're about to put on the single. I think in a couple of weeks we're gonna do it. I think if not in the beginning of January. It's called Thread the Needle. We shot a video for it last weekend, and we'll see how that goes. As far as Living Color is concerned, we've been writing off and on since we were on the road this summer. We did a few things. We did some shows with Everclear and Hoobastank and Wheatus, and then when we got back, we started to work on a few things, and we're going to continue to work on some more things in the beginning of the year. and hopefully get this record done before around that time.
Okay. I got a question from Melissa. She says you're a huge Fishbone Elvis and Rick Springfield fan. How did those groups come about for you? And what was your favorite genre of music growing up?
I liked Elvis movies, and obviously I heard Elvis music and that kind of stuff. But I really liked Elvis movies because I think they built movies around Elvis. My favorite Elvis line is there are all these people there. He's at this fancy cocktail party, and all these people are talking about Dave Brubeck, and they're talking about jazz, and they're talking about all this music. And they turn to Elvis and say, "So what do you think about all this?" And he says something that I think I wanted to pattern my life around. He said, "Lady, I don't know what the hell you're talking about." I was like, "That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to be." I don't care what it is, as long as it makes me feel good, And Fishbone, a friend of mine, when I was about 15 or 16, but it turned me on to their EP, and I was like, "This is it. This is great. I love this." And jump cut a couple of years later, we play with them, and we immediately become fast friends, all of them. Like, I immediately sort of bonded with them. We were all around the same age. We all sort of had the same sort of experiences. I love them to death. Fishbone is the shit. I don't know if I can say that, but so look who's back.
You guys are probably just seeing my ear right now, but because it won't show. Well, it's better than showing my rear, but Hey, Corey, real quick, Tony wanted to thank you for everything you do for, your passion for epilepsy, everything you did with Eric Miller during that whole thing. And we love you. Mark Hudson sends his love. Gary Burr, Earl Slick. I just wanted to point that out and love you. I just wanted to jump on real quick before Buccelli comes on and I get a bitch slap.
All right. But tell Earl, I love Earl. Earl Slick is the best person. Is the best worst person I know. I just want everybody to know that.
We never had him on the show yet, so we can't agree with you, but I'll believe you.
Oh, just wait. Hey, y'all.
He's so metal. He's at an Andre Bocelli show.
Okay, I got it.
He's gonna get you back for that.
I know. That's why I said it.
Totally gonna get you back on that.
I can handle it.
But yeah, we'll bring it back around when you were Corey, when you were talking about Fishbone.
Oh yeah, so Fishbones. I really love Fishbone. What was the other thing they said?
Rick Springfield.
Rick Springfield. I'm a child of the '80s, and that was for me. I love the fact that Rick was an actor and a singer, like an actor and a musician, and so am I, and I kind of related to his whole life. Like, if I could get a job on a soap opera and have a top 10 single, I'd have loved that.
I was going to say, when were you on a soap? I saw you on Broadway and off Broadway. I'm like,
that's just the point. I envy Rick Springfield's career, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Nice.
Right on.
Awesome. Angel, stay with it, buddy.
Okay, definitely have another question. Just got a little sidetracked. This question's from Julie. She wants to know, what was your favorite show that you've played?
I don't have favorite shows. There are moments in shows that I love and admire. Playing with the Stones was very memorable. The first time We played in front of a big crowd that actually came to see us. Was very, very memorable. There were shows when only 3 or 4 people showed up, but we played one hell of a show, and that was really memorable. There are shows when guests showed up that we wouldn't believe would be there. It's the people that we met along the way that sort of informed what was really great about what I did, or what we did, and what we're doing. And I can't pick one particular point in my life when that happened.
Got a question from Susan. I love your voice. Have you taken singing lessons or picked it up on your own?
Oh, I take voice lessons. I do vocal exercises to keep this, because it is my source of income, and so you have to keep it up. You have to continue to do what is necessary to keep the instrument working. Have you ever seen a guitar player who doesn't practice his guitar? It's the same sort of idea.
Awesome. Back to you, Jay.
Yeah, totally. No, for sure. So, Corey, I wanted to take it back to Living Color for a second, because I wanted to focus a little bit on Vivid. And what I want to go with this one is actually 15 years ago, there's a book that came out by Robert Dimery called 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. And
Right.
Vivid is featured as one of those albums that's, that you must hear before you die.
Okay.
And just the idea of having your
already.
work. What's up?
Good thing I heard it already then, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
You too.
But I was just kind of thinking, like, what is it kind of like, what do you think, and how do you respond to like the idea of like, a piece of your work, being featured as something that is so highly thought of that a person couldn't live their life correctly without hearing it at some point?
It's very humbling. It's very humbling to know that something that you did trying to express yourself with resonated with people in that way. I was talking to somebody the other day, and it's like those songs that we all did were about the lives we lived and the places that we grew up in, and the places that we saw, and that we sort of just put it to a groove, and to know that those experiences translated to people in a way that they understood it and got it, and it elevated their own understanding of the world is an amazing thing. It's great. It's amazing. It's really, really cool.
Absolutely, for sure, man. And when you look at like, back on the actual album itself with the singles that you were putting out, of course, Cult of Personality and Middleman, and Glamour Boys, like, what do you remember about like seeing the music video on like MTV for the first time, or hearing your first time you heard yourself on the radio? Do you remember? Can you remember when that happened for you?
I remember it was a time we were on the road. We were in a van driving through this peace sheet of a fog, and all of us are in there, and we're all complaining about, I never hear this stuff on the radio. Never hear this stuff on the radio. And like on cue, the fog cleared and Middleman played on the radio. And it was just surreal. It was really weird. It was like a sign from God.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool. Or you go to some place and it's playing somewhere you don't expect it to.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to buy some toothpaste, and it's a song of yours is playing on the PA. Like, what do you do with that? It's kind of embarrassing. There's a car that goes by and you hear your own voice in the car coming out through their stereo. It's like, this is real. It's very surreal.
Absolutely, for sure. And the one thing that's also been kind of cool is a song like Cult, for example, which has always been a banger, a very standalone, track that like you're always going to recognize. The one thing I found kind of interesting over the last few years is it kind of got a secondary little resurgence to a younger generation because a wrestler by the name of CM Punk started using it as
Yes.
his entrance music.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool that you're hearing your voice to this guy walking to the ring, every week.
Yeah. Well, originally, first time we heard it. I'm sorry. I'm walking through my house because my battery's dying on my iPad.
Oh,
So I'm trying
This
to get
edition
to.
of Metal Summit Cribs edition.
Yeah.
We'll be back. What? You want to say hi? You can say hi.
He wants his treat.
Say the word. You heard it. Thanks, dude.
I've been quiet the whole show. You haven't given me a damn treat.
Thanks, fucker. Now I have to give him one.
Blame it on me, dude.
I am. Uncle Ingo's all fault. It's his fault.
He's being a good boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we had Coach First down on Guitar Hero, which is kind of interesting. As the first time it got that kind of second wind. And then it was in Grand Theft Auto. And then Punk used it. And the way Punk tells the story is when he was 9-10 years old in his little league, when he was in little league, that's the music they came out to. He had obviously had a very progressive baseball coach, and that was their entrance music from like when he was a kid. So when he went to the first wrestling league he was in, he played it there. And then when he got to McMahon's organization, he demanded that they use this song. It's like he tells us the story that they didn't do that. They didn't use other people's music. They had their own music department and they made music, and they were trying to tell him, we can make you a song that sounds like Cult of Personality, but we don't want to pay for the rights to use this song. And he's like, no, it's the song or nothing. And that was great. I felt it seemed really cool of him. And now he's doing it again. And this is a song that has, 29 lives.
for sure.
Oh.
Absolutely. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on real quick before we kick it back over to Steve is, you guys played like the Lollapalooza festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to ask you about that. I mean, Lollapalooza has been around for a while now, but kind of similar to Woodstock. You guys played like the Lollapalooza, like when it was like at its peak with, Jane's Addiction. It was Perry's thing anyway, but like, with Jane's Addiction and all those Mighty Mighty Boss Stones and all these other fantastic bands.
Mm-hmm.
And so looking back at that festival, what do you remember about your set and just the festival in general?
It was a place, I felt comfortable and uncomfortable at the same time. It was like all the places that we had played around the country, we would get a smattering of the people that came to Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza was like taking all of our gigs and putting them in one place. All of the places that we'd played before, all the bands that we'd played before with, this was it. So it was kind of disconcerting to know that there was a real sort of alternative scene, and that we were a part of that alternative scene. And so it was but it was interesting to see things like the Butthole Surfers, who I had not seen live, Susie and the Banshees, which was amazing. You saw 9 Inch Nails for the first time playing live on Lollapalooza. Obviously James was amazing. You saw Ice-T and Body Count,
Yeah.
there was a bunch of Henry Rollins band. The Henry Rollins band was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen in my life. And it was fun. It was lots of fun. There's a whole lot of bands and a whole lot of egos and a whole lot of just interesting times. No fights or anything like that, but and no one was really being as much of a diva as the next person. I think everybody's diva-dom sort of like canceled each other out, but it was good. It was really good.
Awesome. Right on, bro. Killer. Psycho Steve, it's you, dude. You and Dime's turn.
Okay, so my question is, back in the day when record labels really existed, they used to give something called an advance, a record advance. Besides to pay for the production of the album, of course, you did get a couple shekels to yourself. What did you buy?
The record deal didn't pay us that much because two things. An advance was against record sales, right? So they weren't giving you this money. You were borrowing this money and hoping they could pay them back with a successful record. So it wasn't a lot of money. It was when we were on the road and we played, we made some money. I bought a car. I bought a car that nobody could fix because it was so imported. Nobody understood what that kind of car it was.
What was it?
It was called a Daihatsu Rocky. This is about around the time when the Subaru Samurai was the biggest thing, and I thought I was being cute by buying this. It was a Korean manufactured, same as Suzuki. It was Suzuki's competitor in Korea, and you can only get it in one place in America. It was in like Washington D.C. And I bought this car, and what I didn't realize, what I realized after I bought it was that it was a stick shift, and I didn't know how to drive a stick shift. So I brought a friend of mine who was teaching me on the way back to New York on how to use a stick shift. And I might have stripped a few gears on the way home. But it was, and yeah, I had that car for a good 2-3 years, and I smacked it up. And whenever I got into an accident, or if I got into an accident or something fell off of it, I had to, this is before the internet, so I had to find a way to get to somebody who actually manufactured. I had to call, Guam to get parts, shipped back to the United States. So I couldn't find any parts for this car.
Wow. And to piggyback off of that, where were you when you found out you were nominated for a Grammy?
We were in rehearsal, actually.
Okay.
We were working on our next record, and they said, "Oh, by the way," and we were like, "Oh, that's great. Okay, let's get back to work." That was basically it. That's what we did. I mean, and subsequently, when we got the second one, we were also in rehearsal, and we did the same thing. It was like, "Oh, by the way, you won a Grammy. Yay, let's go. All right, gotta go to work." Back to work.
Wow.
It's like,
do you still own the awards?
I'm sorry?
Do you still own the awards?
Yeah, they're at my mother's house. I left them there. At one time, they were at my house, and they were doorstops.
That's awesome.
That's so great.
That is so cool.
I had this idea that the idea of awards was the industry breaking its arm to pat itself on the back, and I just thought, the proof is in where you play and how you play and who you play to and who you impact with your with what you do. And that was much more important to me than getting this piece of brass and wood. It actually got me fired from a job. I was working for VH1, and they were talking about, and it was sponsored by, I was working on a show that was sponsored basically by the Grammy organization. And it was this panel discussion show about the Grammys and how great the Grammys are. And I had my Grammy with me. And I proceeded to take it apart. during this discussion, just to show people, see, it's not really worth much. It's a little piece of tin, and this is stuff you can buy at a award shop. The kind of they give participation awards. It's not that deep, and it got me fired.
Deal. Promoted to freaking customer. There you go. Wow. So their door stops at your mother's house.
They were for a minute. They've taken it off the floor. I think now they put it.
Cool. Did we just lose them?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with the Grammys.
Seriously, the Grammys just got fired from the Metal Summit.
No, has done nothing. We didn't do nothing. I hate the Grammys.
I'm not.
I don't even watch the damn show.
But hang tight with us, fans. We'll have Corey right back on in just a second. But until he does jump back on, so let's talk a little bit about the Grammys, because the Grammys don't have a very good history of respect when it comes to the rock and metal community. So we might as well take this opportunity to talk a little bit about it. It goes as far back as Jethro Tull beating out Metallica, which people are still bitter about.
I was happy about it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go, Steve.
Well, because first of all, Metallica, in my opinion, I will give them credit because they are talented musicians. But come on, Saint Anger. I'm tone deaf, but that album was horrible.
Right.
My 12-year-old and 9-year-old can play better drums than Lars did. I'm sorry.
No, very true. Well, but here, for the sake of the discussion, let me just jump in and steer it back to like that time, because that's when Metallica was bringing it and almost kind of untouchable.
Right.
By the time Saint Anger came out, they were kind of mortal.
Right.
So let's go. Oh, there we go.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Usually people say goodbye when they hang up, just to say.
It's all good.
The battery completely died. I plugged it in. It still didn't help.
Oh, gotcha. We just figured that the Grammys just got you fired from the Metal Summit.
Exactly.
Damn Grammys.
No worries, man. That's so.
Well, we were just talking about when Metallica lost to Jethro Tull. I was happy when they won Jethro Tull because my oldest son's 12. He played the recorder for 4 years in elementary school, and then he's just I'm like, I got him a guitar, electric guitar to play, and I said, you can learn any instrument you want to still play recorder. He's like, well, Dad, I'm not gonna get any ass if I'm playing a recorder. I'm like, well, controversy says about Ian. What's his last name? Ian from what's it called? What the hell is his last name from Jethro Tull? Plays a flute. Is it Ian? Not Ian Anderson, is it? No. Okay, so the dude from Jethro Tull. I'm like, Jack, he gets more ass than the toilet seat, and he played the flute. So,
well, now, Steve, let's finish it. Let me let you finish your thought though before we kick it to Angel to continue with Corey. So, but it's the thing. Yeah, Jethro Tull, who specializes in flute, beating out Metallica with Aqualung in the metal category.
Right.
So what's your thought process on that upset? You said you were down for it, which I definitely think it's cool because we do love underdogs and I do like that kind of stuff. But that just seems like a very out of place victory. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Grammys should have a classic rock jam band nomination, and then Metallica, and they should have a hard rock, metal, like all genres. Not just, so I can understand people being a little butthurt when Metallica lost, but I still like Jethro Tull better.
No worries, man. Fair enough. Angel, let's kick it to you, buddy, and get it right back going again with Corey.
You gotta give me a second to play the flute.
Uh-oh. Play it, buddy. Play it.
That was more fun.
Oh, you've got Kim and Candy swooning.
Let me go to Matt Porter. He has a question. He wants to know, what was it like playing at WrestleMania? And I think you answered the part of the question about the in-house music. How did that relationship come to be?
Right. Oh, playing at the WrestleMania was unimaginable. It was the loudest I've ever heard in a stadium. I don't think we could barely hear ourselves over the roar of all those people that were there. And it was really interesting to see all these wrestlers that some of them I grew up with, like Bruno Sammartino was there. And it was like, wow, I didn't realize you were that short. And you know, Undertaker and there's all these folks that were there that I had only seen on a television, and seeing them in real life was just incredible.
Awesome.
Nice.
We're gonna go to the next question from Celeb. My favorite song on Vivid is "Far Broken Hearts." Could you please tell us what the song is about or who?
I can't tell you who it's about. No, I can't. No, I will not tell you who it's about. But it's about surviving, you know, a broken heart. That you will survive a broken heart. It won't be the same. It'll never be the same. But you will survive.
And to interject, Angel, it's Caleb from Nerd Halen. Just saying.
Well, I'm used to messing up everybody's name. I still mess up your name.
True story.
I call you Steve-O sometimes.
Right on. It's okay. I'm just letting you know.
No, it's okay. I appreciate.
It's okay. Do you know Caleb, Corey? He's the guitarist to Nerd Halen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who asked the question. Just Angel fucked up his name, so I had to just.
Sorry, Steve told me to fuck up your name. Sorry, my apologies. I won't listen to Steve. Well, probably till next week when I have to listen to him again. But
sure. All right, proceed, meathead.
Okay. Let me go to Paul. He wants to know if you are going to do a new album, who are the players you would pick to record and write with?
Let's see. Well, folks I've been writing with are prolific. You know, the guys with Jesus, I'm blanking. With George Lynch. I think of the name of the band now. That was fun. They were really prolific writers. Chris Moore, the drummer, is a really good writer. All of them were really good writers. George Pond from Disciples of Verity is an amazing sort of groove writer and songwriter in his own right. You know, and the guys in Living Color ain't so bad either. And Mike Orlando working with Mike Orlando has been so much fun. So much fun. He's the most, I'm not the biggest fan of guitar players. I can't tell you why, but Mike Orlando is my favorite guitar player. Is by far my favorite guitar player.
Exclusive. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
And writing with him was fun. I'd like to work with Dave Navarro from Jane's Addiction.
Nice.
I think he's an amazing guitar player. And he's a really interesting songwriter. Chris Dowd from Fishbone is a really, really, really good songwriter, amazing songwriter. There's so many people, and I like them all as players. Like I'd love to do a record with Doug Pinnick.
Yeah.
In the band.
We'll have to talk to Smitty about that.
Well, yeah, of course, because you talk to Smitty about everybody. Because
sure.
He knows everyone. He knows everybody.
Yes.
He's the mayor of everywhere. I'm trying to trademark that, just so he can have a T-shirt that just says, "Hello, I'm the mayor everywhere."
Nice.
Hey, got an idea for merch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There you go. And there are a bunch of folks that I want to put into like a dream band. It's too many people. It's way too many people. It'd be a big freaking band.
Yeah.
You mentioned the guitarist, you mentioned the bassist, but no drummer.
I don't want to talk about drummers because Drummers are very moody people. You know, if I say one, the other one's gonna yell at me. I don't want to talk about drummers.
Okay.
No worries.
And you all laughed like it was true. You all know it's true.
No, because Angel plays drums, so
drummers
Yes.
are little bitches. I'm sorry, they are. They are.
okay then.
It's all because of loading that gear, so they have to turn their venom on you.
Right. If I have to carry this trap case, you're gonna hear about it all fucking day. I understand.
God, that's the most gear to carry. Took me 8 fucking hours just to set up my drum set when I was a teenager.
Angel, you made the choice, brother.
Yes, I did.
I have to pay attention to my bass, a strap, and a cord. That's it.
Well, I'm in a band where everybody has pedals, including the drummer. I'm the only person without pedals. Like, they have effects. They have their own effects. The drummer has his own effects. Moody little bitches.
Well, come on, our beloved TMS moody little bitch. Why don't you keep rolling with it, Angel?
Let's go with Melissa has a question. I know I pronounced that name right. April Rain, by far my favorite song you've ever done. What is that about?
It's about loss. It is about everything you've ever lost in your life, anything you've emotionally lost in your life, and that's what the song is about.
Cool. When it comes to touring, how do you maintain your voice? Because with anybody that plays an instrument, they just pick up the instrument and plug in. Where with you, you have your voice. So how do you maintain your voice when you're out on the road?
You know, this is gonna sound silly, but you sleep. You work as hard as you rest. That's the most important thing. If you're singing hard for a good 2.5, 3 hours, you need twice as much of that just to rest your voice. Because all of this is internal, and it's emotionally draining as well. So you need that time. You need enough time to rest and rejuvenate after you've worked as hard. So my rule of thumb is, if I had a 2-hour show, I need at least 4 hours for it to wind down. And that may mean sleep. That may mean not talking. That may mean, just relaxing. But no, I'm not straining my voice again until the next time I have to sing. And the more rest I get, the better it becomes.
So, like, after a show, do you do anything for your voice, or do you just shut down?
Yeah, you have to warm down a little bit.
Okay.
Because what you've done is, if you warm up before the show, you're revving the engine. You're letting it idle. So when you get to the points in the show where you go to, you can elevate it and take it higher and take it wherever you need it to go. At the same time, you need to ratchet that down so that you can have enough to do it the next time, because it's not how good you were in that one particular moment. No, you're going to have more moments along the way. So you're going to have to keep doing it. In order to keep doing it, you have to just bring it down. You've just excited yourself. You've just taken yourself to your maximum. So now let's take it down a little bit. So you take it down a little bit, and then you relax, and you go to sleep, and you get plenty of sleep and water. Stay hydrated and stay rested.
Awesome. I'm gonna take it right back to Jay.
Yeah, totally, man, for sure. So, Corey, I actually kind of want to get in a little bit in deep with you for this next segment, if you don't mind, because I kind of want to go over the history of POCs in music, because I think it's a very interesting topic. I think it's very important to cover, because you can look back, of course, to HR with Bad Brains, yourself with Living Color. You've got, Doug Pinnick, who we mentioned with King's X. You brought up Ice-T as well. And then even more of like a new school, even though the band's been around with a great catalog. You've got, Lejean with Seven Dust. How have you seen really the progression of like, you know, people of color in music, especially hard rock and metal, where we've always, I can only speak for, you know, my brothers here on the show, where we're very hardcore about everybody being welcome and we very much love the world. How have you watched the evolution? We would love to pick your brain a bit about that.
Well, you know, there's the idea that there was a point at which where metal wasn't as inviting. Metal, I should say, was not as inviting. But there were people on the forefront in the beginning that were making this music that have been around forever. In places like Baltimore, Maryland, there was a major sort of metal scene in Baltimore, Maryland, where there was a lot of folks of color that were part of that scene that were doing it. There's obviously a scene in New York, in New York City. There's a scene in Atlanta. There was a scene everywhere. A scene in LA. There was a major scene in LA, and there were lots of bands lots of metal bands, like real deal sort of minor third metal bands, you know. And they, you know, they were glam metal bands. There were there's a band out of LA. I can't think of the name right off the top of my head. There was Death. There was oh God, I can't think. I don't know why I can't think of the name right now. Because I'm old. That's why. Never mind. But there've been bands out there doing it forever, and it's not like there has been a progression, and there has been people who stuck their head above ground and got recognized for that. The people like Doug Pinnick stuck his head up above ground and got recognized for that. My friend Militia Vox is another one who I believe is a empress when it comes to metal singing. She's amazing to me. You know, Polystyrene, that was more of the punk stuff and that kind of stuff. But there have been people around that have been doing this forever. You know, we're talking about it now. We didn't talk. We you know, I tell the story all the time about going to L'Amour's. Like, I loved L'Amour's, but I couldn't hang out in the neighborhood that L'Amour's was in.
Okay.
So I had to take a train, and you know, I'm from Brooklyn. L'Amour's was in Brooklyn. L'Amour's was in Canarsie and Bedford. I couldn't, you know, I had to find ways to surreptitiously get to L'Amour's from the train station and get my ass back to the train without trying to get hurt, because I wanted to go see the Circle Jerks.
Sure.
Right. So there was, you know, because and if you think about what was going on with them back in the day, that was a really sort of diverse sort of scene that they were in.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't them, it was the people who were listening to them that you had to worry about. You know, the skinhead assholes you had to deal with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Is there anybody that you've noticed in more like modern day now that's kind of caught your ear when it comes to keeping, you know, that torch going, you know, and that kind of pride? Is there anyone you can think of offhand that you're really digging on right now?
Hyro the Hero.
I'm sorry, one more time, Corey?
Hyro the Hero.
Oh, okay.
He is the shit. He's
nice.
The
very, very cool. I know that you had mentioned that you're not the world's biggest fan of guitar players, but if you're unfamiliar, there's a band called Animals as Leaders with this guy Rossi, who's phenomenal.
I love the Animals as Leaders. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool, man. Very, very cool. Well, cool, man. I appreciate it, Corey, because, you know, it's really interesting hearing like your perspective and what you remember about that scene for sure. So we definitely appreciate you touching base on that a bit.
Thank you.
Of course, man. Absolutely. Psycho Steve, you're all you, my man.
So talking about L'Amour's, I was very fortunate and blessed to go there quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Kiss there, you there. Well, I've seen Warrant there, Slayer there.
Right.
You know, Iron Maiden there.
I don't know how they fit Iron Maiden into Lemoore. How do you fit?
I don't know. I'm still sore from the show.
How do you get all that fucking gear into
Right.
Lemoore?
See, I started going to concerts when I was really young because that was my vice. My grandmother, let her rest in peace, she was a musician. She said, I don't want you doing drugs. I want you to do music. I have no musical talent, so I go to concerts and live vicariously through the musicians. So my grandmother would take me to Lemore's. My father would take me to Lemore's. My mom, my mom said for Mother's Day, I don't want to be around you or your brother. So let your brother go fishing. Your father can go fishing with him. Here's 2 tickets to go see Kiss at Lemore's. Bye.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So I went. So I need to know your first concert and then the other concert that made you to go, that's what I want to be doing.
First concert, the concert that was memorable to me. I saw James Brown at the Apollo.
Okay.
And I caught, when James Brown played the Apollo, he did 3 or 4 shows a night. Like he did an afternoon matinee, there was an evening show, and the last show late at night. I went to the middle show, and I went there with my brother. We had tickets on the floor, and I had no idea what that was. He's screaming, he's jumping up and down, he's running around, they're putting a cape on him. Every time he says one thing, that people go crazy. People are throwing clothes at him. I don't get this dog. 30 years later, that's what I do for a living. And it was a spectacle for me. Just watching the whole James Brown band. It was all these folks on stage, the background singers, the horn players, the 2 drummers. It was the most amazing thing to watch. But it was fascinating in that this 8-year-old had no clue as to what that was. What is this? And the thing that got me to think that I could do it, well, not that I could do it, but what really gave me some inspiration is I went to a CBGB's, a hardcore matinee, and saw the Bad Brains. And this is early on. I was like 16, 17 years old. And I was like, this is the shit I want to be. I want to live in this. I want to live in this band. I can never do what HR does. It never in a million years could I ever be like that. But I want to do this. This is what moves me. And that was it for me. I was like, I got to start a band. I got to be in a band. I have to be in a band. I got to get in a band. And that was really sort of like the impetus for me to do this.
Wow. And then what was your first album?
First album?
Yeah, like you bought yourself.
I bought myself, I think was Off the Wall.
Nice. Wow. Great album.
That I bought it for myself. I might have stolen it from somebody. Either way, it was mine. But that was it for me. I bought Off the Wall in 1980 or something like that. Yeah.
Sweet. Wow.
Yeah, but there was always music in my house though. From everything that was playing in my house. Because my father was a big jazz head, so there's a lot of jazz music playing, and my brother and sister were a little more progressive, so there was like what we now call classic R&B, and then there was some of that crossover stuff that was really interesting, and they got into Zeppelin and that kind of stuff. It's like, wow, it was a very progressive musical household, playing on the big Grundig stereo in the middle of the house.
Nice.
That's freaking awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's super duper cool for sure. Angel, let's bring you back in, my man. Do we have more questions from the Metal Summoners?
Yes, we do. This one is from Benjamin. Thank you for your patience. How did you like working with Galactic?
Galactic was great. I was really good. They were a lot of fun. I like those guys. You know, they're from New Orleans. They're a New Orleans band, so you got to play a lot during and around Mardi Gras. You know, that was really, really deep. You know, just the whole history of Mardi Gras and them and all the stuff that town represents in terms of music. That's where the music that I live by was created. You know, so it was a lot.
Nice.
And gonna get to Julie. She wants to know, where was your first show, and do you prefer more intimate shows or the big ones?
I don't like big shows because I can't feel people that are too far away. So I like, you know, places that like I don't know if the audience is like CBGB's was my home away from home. It was intimate enough and the stage was big enough. So you could have a whole lot of fun there. But you want to find you want a place that where you know what you're trying to get across doesn't need people to see you as well as hear you. And when you're on a big stage, people don't really see you; they just hear you.
Ooh. And I got a question from
Dave,
from your favorite dentist.
Love this question.
We can't make this stuff up.
and my brushing and flossing, my flossing and brushing while on tour. You'll never know.
That's a good answer.
By the way, I need to see you. Call me.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, I need to see you too, Dave. Yeah, I do. I need to see you.
I'm seeing him next Wednesday.
You lucky bastard.
NJSmile.com.
I wonder if you can just bump you and just have me instead.
You can go and place with me. I don't mind.
Yeah, I think I need to go worse than you.
Okay.
I've never seen people fight over the dentist before.
Well,
hey, how many teeth?
I say it all the time in the morning.
I mean, it's important.
That's true. He is not just any dentist.
True. I tell everybody, you want to go to a good dentist, you don't want to go to him. You want the best dentist, you go to him.
Exactly. Go to the best dentist. We're both fighting to who gets to go first.
Yeah, you can go with Jessa. She's going with it. So.
That's all right. I'll just put cones around your apartment and just like traffic the wrong way so I can get there first.
Right on. That's all. That's cool.
I know David's probably like, can you guys just shut up? Sorry, Dave.
Dave's like, I'm losing customers with every word you say.
I'm going to go to your next question, Dave. In the song I Did the Chorus Hook come first or the verse? Or the verse. Gosh.
Did the chorus or the hook come first?
Yeah.
I think the hook came first.
In the song I Am, did the chorus or the hook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another I there.
Yeah.
I am I.
I'll blame it on Steve and the Jack Daniels.
I've been worse.
Yeah, the hook came first.
Nice.
It was, you know, again, blame it on George Pop. He came up with some really interesting grooves.
Nice.
And I got a question from Andy. Are you grateful to CM Punk? The crowd goes crazy when Call of Personality starts for his entrance team.
Yeah, you know, yeah, he's definitely, like I said, Cult of Personality has had more lives than I can count on one hand, and it's in large part due to Punk, or Phil, as I like to call him, and Philip when he's not looking.
Nice.
Love you too, Dave.
Great question, Andy. That's my bro, Andy, from last night's Villain. Thank you for so much for tuning in, bro. You rock. Back to you, Angel.
My question is, when it comes to the set list, how do you guys come up with the set list?
With Living Color?
Yeah.
That's Vernon's job, really. But you know, the thing about the whole arc of the show is in as much as like trying to show you what we've done is like we've grown through that process. You know, you're always going to hear cult personality. It's not given. And although there's been one show that we didn't play cult personality, we ran out of time. But it's we want to show you the progression and growth of the band. So along with hearing something like Open Letter to a Landlord or Middleman, anything those things from the first record, you'll hear Love Yours Up Your Head, obviously. You'll hear Time's Up. But you'll see that there's a progression and there's a growth. You'll hear stuff from records you might not even remember we did, that we did recently, that and some of the new stuff from there. So it has to ebb and flow. Plus, you know, as musicians, everybody sort of gets a spotlight. You know, there's always a guitar solo. There's a bass interlude that happens. There's a drum solo. Yes, there is a drum solo. So you'll always get there's going to be a section of the show, depending on how long we're playing, where you're going to see where we get to stretch out a bit.
Nice.
So I'm gonna kick it back up to Jay.
Yeah, for sure. So the next thing I want to do is take you, Corey, from one stage to another and talk a little bit about like your stage work with Fallen Angel and then with Jesus Christ Superstar. Okay. Can you take us back on those experiences and what it was like, you know, from, you know, rock metal musician to, you know, stage performance actor, musical?
Well, you know, I started out I was professionally an actor before I was always a singer, but I got work as an actor and as a theater, sort of musical theater performer as when I was in my younger years. So to do stuff like Fallen Angel and Superstar was a no-brainer for me. Fallen Angel was stationary. It was here in New York City, and it was not, you know, it was there, and it had the songs were really, really interesting. The story was really interesting. Do you remember a guy named Boski? He was a stock trader or something like that, and he was caught in fraud or something. Well, his son, Billy Boski, wrote this play, and it's about his father. But in the shadow of all this stuff happening with his father, he was trying to manage a band. So it was about being in a band, basically. So that was interesting. And Jesus Christ Superstar is Jesus Christ Superstar. Who wouldn't want to do Jesus Christ Superstar?
That was amazing.
Who wouldn't want to do that show with Ted Neely, the guy from the movie? You know, still playing Jesus. Amazing.
Right on. Cool, man. Very, very cool. Have you thought about doing more of that, or like now, or are you still like, you know, if your phone rings, are you down to have the conversation depending on the opportunity?
Absolutely. If somebody wants to, I'd love to go back to Broadway. I'd love to do, you know, a bus and truck thing, anything that gives me a chance to perform, because performing is growing. The more I do it, the more I learn. You know, and we're in the middle of a global pandemic, so it makes it a little difficult, but you find a way to do it. How was your experience filming Platoon? It was grueling and beautiful all at the same time. I spent 3 months in the Philippines. Never been out. I'd never been to Southeast Asia before in my life. And I had, you know, I made some really good friends out of that. You know, it was my first feature film. And it was magical and grueling and just it pushed you into physical limits. Everybody thinks that you're an actor, you're playing a part, you're not really doing it real. It's not really real. We spent 2 weeks doing basic training where we learned how to field strip M16s and M60 machine guns, how to dig your own foxholes, how to set up ambushes. We were a real platoon. There was a hierarchy. Willem Dafoe and Tom Berenger were the sergeants. We had a Marine captain who was training us that whole time, and by the time we finished basic training, they were ready to film, and we were ready to look like it was real, because it was real to us at that point.
Very cool. Absolutely. We got some questions popping up. So Angel, let's kick it back over to you, buddy. Let's keep the Metal Summoners happy.
Yeah, speaking of Platoon, Ken wants to know why didn't you appear in more movies?
I did appear in other movies. You just didn't see them. That's all. The movies are being made all the time that you will never, ever see.
Uh-oh.
Porn?
No.
No, Steve, we know that's you.
That's Bobby coming vicariously through Steve.
Yes. He texted me, asked me to ask him that. So.
Right. But I didn't. I've done a few other movies, direct to nowhere movies. Some movies did, some movies just went to like film festivals and never saw the light of day. But I kept working as an actor. I haven't been doing that much now, but for a while I was doing a lot of acting.
Nice.
Brian wants to know if you could go back in time and meet any one person, who would it be? And same thing, if you could bring back one person, who would it be?
Good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's one person I could go back in time and meet. Sam Cooke or Jackie Wilson. I'd love to have met them. Sam Cooke in particular. Because he had a very interesting sort of thing about, going from the gospel music into soul music and the pop music and all that about him. Otis Redding as well. Somebody I would bring back. Who would I bring back? I'd like to bring Jimmy back just to see what he think of what's going on now.
Cool.
Back to you, Jay.
Nah, for sure. What would you, so when it comes to like how you want to see, your music going and your life kind of going, how do you feel like it's projecting right now? Like, do you want to focus kind of equally parts on like Time with Living Color, working with George and working now with Michael as well? Do you like kind of breaking up your availability with these different projects to stay satisfied, or do you kind of want one to take off more than others?
No, I like where we are right now. I like how it's going right now. I honestly, this is a longer discussion, and I'm running low on time, by the way.
No problem. So let me jump in real quick, Corey, just before you continue. On that note, fans, it's now last call for alcohol. Get your final questions into Corey so we can try to get them answered before he splits. Sorry about that, Corey. Just wanted to shoot that in for the fans.
Take your time. But, okay, this is easier. If I sit up, I'm going to fall asleep if I go. I'm in my bedroom. So, the larger discussion is, outside of a few folks, the impact of Living Color on the musical scene is significant, but not really talked about, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to work hard on people recognizing our contribution as it pertains to, the musical landscape and what Living Color did to the musical landscape. What players like Vernon Reid and Will Calhoun and Mus Gillings and Doug Wimbish did for a bunch of bands that are that are doing really, really well right now, if not for Living Color, in my opinion. And that's and at the same time, you know, I need stimuli. I need things to that sort of waken my brain up. So doing stuff with Disciples of Verity does that. Doing stuff with George with George Lynch did that. Working with Galactic did that. Working with Mike Orlando does that for me right now. So I need all that, and I need all the other things as well.
Right on. Awesome. There's one thing real quick. Let me jump in and piggyback off something that you said, because it really kind of got my brain churning a little bit. We talked about the Grammys earlier. Mm-hmm. Let's touch base real quick on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because since you brought up Living Color, the impact that they have and have had and still do, like we said, with Cult of Personality having, 52 lives.
Right.
If you don't mind, what's your take on that? Do you think you guys will get that phone call? Will you accept that phone call? Like, where's kind of your mental state on that?
Oh, absolutely. We'd love to. The recognition is sort of a necessity at this point. Not just because we've been doing this for a long time, but it's the fact that, you could talk to other people in bands, and you mention Living Color, and you talk to guitar players, and you mention Vernon's name, and it's like, oh my God, yes. You talk about bass players, and you talk about Doug Wimbish, and you talk about Muzz Skillings, you talk about drummers, and Will Calhoun is among, in the pantheon of drummers as a whiny little bitch that he is. But I think that we deserve, and even if people talk about me, there is something to be said about what we've done and what we're doing and what we continue to do. And there has to be, I feel like there should be a campaign to really sort of give Living Color its flowers before it's too late.
For sure. I definitely agree with that, Corey. 100%. And I think I can speak on behalf of Steve and Angel as well on that. That's definitely a true statement for sure.
Yeah.
On that note, Steve, let's kick it over to you. We'll hit it over to Angel for any final questions, and we'll let Corey enjoy his night.
Okay. You talked about your Daihatsu. What are you driving now, and what's in the CD player, if it has a CD player in it?
I have an SUV. It's a hybrid. It's the biggest hybrid I've ever seen in my life, personally. It's mine. And what's in the CD player? I think I found a CD of the Bad Brains Roar tape, and I play that.
Holy cow! Right on.
That's awesome.
That's a great album.
Yeah. I play that. It's the record itself is like 20 minutes long, but I don't care. I play it on repeat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Final question.
Very cool.
And also, just one more thing. I just want to say one more thing.
Yes.
Thank you to Smitty for making this happen.
Yes. Thank you, Smitty, for sure. Angel, anything final from the fans and a question for you, and then I'll wrap it.
I'm going to get to the last two questions, and let's go to my favorite dentist, Dave. Your voice seems to have gotten stronger and more reverse. How do you keep your voice so amazing while many other vocals can't?
I can't speak for other vocalists. All I know is that I have a mortgage and it has to get paid.
Nice.
So if I'm not working, it don't get paid.
Okay.
And the final question is going to go to Brian. You get the last question of the evening. This may have already been discussed, but being that it's the day that John Lennon was taken from us, can you tell us a bit about his influence? your take on his influence.
Everyone talks about what a great songwriter he was, and I take nothing from that. Amazing songwriter, amazing songwriter. But I liked his attitude about the world. Like, there was, in a way, he saw the world for what it was and still wanted to change it. And he did it in a snarky way. Just when you saw him in interviews and how he was just so he's just a smart ass to people who he knew they were, what they were doing and what they were after, and didn't take it seriously until it needed to be serious. I think that was great about John. And I thought he had the right idea. Like, he wanted to be, I think toward the end, he wanted to be a working class musician. He wasn't concerned about being a rock star. He'd been a rock star. He wanted to be a person that made music for a living. I thought that was great about him.
Nice.
Awesome. And back to you, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just a final thought, final statement. Corey, if people are looking, where can you be found?
Well, I'm on all the socials under my name. On Twitter, I'm at RevDaddyLove. On Instagram, I think it's Corey Glover. On Facebook, it's Corey Glover. I don't have a TikTok account. I'm not that young. And yeah, those are the places where you can find me. And you can go to Disciples of Verity Groove on Instagram. I think it's the same on Facebook and on Twitter as well. So you can do all that. And I'm taking off the glasses so there's no glare. So I can.
No worries. Well, Corey, thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening, man. We really appreciate having you on the show. Our big thing is that you had a good time, you enjoyed your questions, and you felt that your time was respected.
It was. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for letting me come in.
Absolutely. Anytime, man. You're always welcome. If you ever need us for any reason, whether it's to come out to a show or to push a project that you're in, just let us know, dude. We got you covered, man. You're an alumnus, your family, and we're happy to have you, man.
Well, we're playing the Saint in Asbury Park in January. Look it up. Come on through. We'd love to have some of you come. We'd love to have as many people who are listening and living in the area come on down to check it out at Saint in Asbury Park. Please come through.
Definitely. Steve and I are not that far away from Asbury Park. So
very true.
Sweet.
I haven't been to Scott's Place in years.
Yeah. It's got a nice vibe to it. I like this. Come on down.
Yeah, it's January 8th.
That's right, Melissa.
January 8th. Thank you, Melissa.
Right on. Well, there you go, fans. Remember, music's coming back full force. There was a lot of talk during COVID about how much you guys missed it. Well, let's show it to guys like Corey and everybody. So let's prove it. Let's get out there. But thanks again to Corey for spending his evening with us. We really appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, hit us up on all of our individual socials, but of course, make sure that you're definitely following and subscribing to the Metal Summit on Facebook and YouTube, because that's where we're live. So that's where you're going to be able to see these awesome interviews with these awesome artists. Definitely follow us as well on Instagram. We are on TikTok for guest announcements as well. So hit us up on all of our socials. And again, thank you guys all so much for tuning in with us. We look forward to it. Guest announcement on Friday. Pay attention to the guest announcement on Friday. We've got some fun little things going on for next week's episode, so it's definitely going to be a good time. So guest announcement on Friday, brand new episode next weekend. Again, thank you so much to Corey Glover, Living Color, Disciples of Verity, for rocking out with us tonight. And on behalf of Bobby Dreyer, for Angel Alamo, for the Psycho Steve, I'm Jay. We will see you guys next weekend. We appreciate it. We love you. And as always, you've been watching the Metal Summit.
Dun, dun, dun.